item is the Students of the Month, and we appreciate everybody coming tonight for the Students of the Month, but first we'll go to the Elementary Student of the Month.
Okay, so today, for Student of the Month for September, we have a 5th grader from Miss Mary McCartney's class, Bo Busenberg. Come on up here, Bo. I gotta give you a Bo is the son of Mike and Heidi Shaw, right back up over here. He has 2 sisters, Eliza and Alexis, and 1 brother, Zane, right? Help me out if I'm messing up. All right. I asked Bo what his favorite subject was, and he looked at me and said, like in school? Yeah. I didn't want to go the other direction, so I said yes, like in school. Right? Then he chose math, so we instantly became friends as soon as he said that, so we're good there. I asked him what his favorite hobbies were, and after having to explain to him what a hobby was,
like in school?
Like in school. He said drawing, sports, and roller coasters.
Oh, there you go.
So then we became best friends right there. I'm all about that, so we were good. Then I asked him, I said, by the way, this guy's a talker. Did you guys know that? He's a talker. He said, I asked him what his favorite food was, and he said, I just like food. Again, we got something in common, right? So I finally got him to name one, and he said pizza. And I said, what kind of pizza? He said, I like all pizza, all different kinds of pizza. I couldn't get it narrowed down, so we moved on. So then I asked him what's the craziest food you've ever eaten? You said crab and alligator. Crab and alligator. Yeah, I like crab. I don't know so much about alligator, but I like crab. Neither. Favorite color is red. And favorite movie, I've never heard of this movie, but it's called Holes. All right?
Good one.
Am I the only person in here
Yeah,
that watched this
I
movie?
think you are, man.
Looks like you're more normal than I am. I'm going to go get that movie and watch it. His favorite sport, he says right now, is cross country. So I'll give some respect. Takes a lot of effort, determination to run cross country. And then I said, what do you like best about Bloomfield? And he says, people here are friendly. That's awesome. That says a lot about our community. And then basically what his teacher said is, Bo is a hardworking student who is always willing to help his classmates. He is conscientious, kind, and responsible. You can't get much better than that. Here you go, buddy. Good job.
Kill them all.
One, two, three. All the girls in the center. Another good to you? All right.
Mom wants to get better.
All right, let's go, Bo.
Now get the mask on. Are you crazy? Yeah.
When we get,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, no, I'll let Bo sit down there.
All right.
He can have a seat there. All right. Well, we have 2 students of the month, but we have one here, my junior student of the month. Where should I be standing? That was this one. There we go. It's been a long day.
Just come down here a little bit.
All right.
Now then just stand on your right foot.
I went to a wedding like that once. Okay, but my junior student of the month, Emma Vaught, is playing volleyball. She will be here. We'll recognize her in October. But our 7th grade student of the month is Mr. Aiden Scott. Come on up. So just a little backdrop here. Old Aiden, he did all he could. I sent out a Google form that had questions on it, and then I went and did stuff. And I come back and I start reading through my email, and I get message. Questions 2, I just keep putting this in, so I've really hung him out to dry here. So he got one answer, and I'm going to put him on the spot for the others, all right? But old Aiden here, my first question is, what clubs, teams, programs, or groups are you involved with at Bloomfield? He said, I'm on the junior high cross-country team, junior high basketball team, and junior high baseball team, and I'm in Beta Club. Beta Club's big, and they're getting ready. We're going to have their induction ceremony here in a couple weeks. Then it comes to the next few questions. I want to have you answer it right off, all right? So he's ready. What are your hobbies? What do you like to do?
I like running. And then I like cross country. I like school.
Nice.
Playing other sports.
Just like being active, don't you? That's it. All right, what's your favorite subject?
Math.
Math.
Boy.
That guy right there. He is cruising. You like Mrs. Rod? Oh, yeah. That's right. I'll tell her you said. What do you like most about Bloomfield Junior Senior High School?
Everybody's more family. Everybody sticks up.
I like that. Yeah. Thank you very much. There you go. It's been one of those days, Mr. Reagan was going to take a picture.
Just like family, you gotta cover each other once in a while.
Grade 6.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
All right. We're ready to roll, so congratulations to Aiden. Well done, buddy. Well done.
I have no doubt, those people who work as hard in the classroom as they do on a cross-country course, they're very good students.
That's right. They're great kids,
Cross-country
too.
is not a good sport, but these two put them.
Well, they've been in baseball together and
Yeah.
basketball and everything.
It's not easy. Some people don't like it, some people love it, but they work hard.
Got the conference coming up.
We do.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, again, thank you for the students of mine. Congratulations. And like I said, we appreciate it. Eric, you coming this evening, but if you need to leave, good job, guys. Thank you.
Congrats, boys.
Steve, is that okay with you?
That's awesome. They got two.
Together.
It is, really. I didn't realize we were that close.
There you go.
All right, guys, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Y'all have a good night.
All right, see you then.
See you, Sarah. Good morning.
Have a good night, guys.
See you, buddy.
Okay, we'll continue with the rest of our recognitions. Bloomfield Elementary School.
All right, I just have a few things here. We had the math contest that was held by the Greene County Health Department. There you go. And we had a first place winner, first grader Emily Bay won the county math contest. So just so you know, they had to create a mask. They had to win in their classroom and then in their grade level. Then it went to a school vote. And then we sent it to the county health department. They went to Saturday morning out there to the 4-H fairgrounds there. And she won the grade school elementary division. So that was awesome. So shout out to her on that. And then our character trait, we've had lots of character trait winners in our drawings that we've had. So I just kind of wanted to mention a few of those. For the last weekend of August, we finished our integrity character trait, and I've mentioned all the others for August, but Calvin Babcock from Mr. Wagner's class, kindergartner, and Greta Dunnigan, who we've already seen once, right, because she won Student of the Month for August, but she also won a character trait drawing from Mrs. Field's room, 6th grader. And then for this month, respect was our character trait. So again, every morning I get on the announcements, or Ms. Williams will get on the announcements, and we'll read a passage on respect and what that means, and give them examples of it, and the teachers give them what we call character tickets for showing respect throughout the day. It can be for a lot of different things, but so these are the winners that we had for this month. Tristan Burston from Mr. Shaw's class, 5th grader. Clara Fleetwood, Ms. Abrams' class, 2nd grader. She was excited. I don't know if you guys know Clara or not, but that girl was excited. Noah Laughlin from Miss Hill's class, 1st grader. Cameron Brandstetter from Mr. Raper's class, 6th grader. 1st grade, Briella Bedwell from Miss Hill's class. 6th grader, Ashton Ryan from Mr. Raper's class. And then today, we did our end of the month drawing, which is one boy and one girl from each hall. So from the top hall, Easton Brown, a 1st grader from Mrs. Heish's class, and Ellie Miller, a 2nd grader from Ms. Brewer's class. And then on the bottom hall, Bryant Manning from Ms. Van Nueter's class, and Ellie Stevens, also from Ms. Van Nueter's class, both 4th graders, for our winners. So shout out to all of them for doing a great job. And I'll tell you, our bucket was full of tickets. So the kids are really, I think, buying into it, and they're being praised for doing what's right. And I think that's important. So that's all I really have for tonight, though. So I'm going to leave you with that.
All right, and I will just follow up here with just a few. And first off, on September 3rd, we had InvestEd that did 2 virtual meetings. That was part of our early college initiative. We had a junior-senior parent early awareness meeting that was held on the 3rd at 6 p.m. Parents could log in, both junior and senior parents log in, and just get ideas about applying for college courses. They filed a 12-week. It's not just a Bloomfield course, it's throughout the state. And then that evening, we had a senior FAFSA meeting that was hosted by InvestEd. This is all free. InvestEd is not just on those nights; they're accessible any day. And but we've had a really nice working relationship with them. And pre-COVID and so forth like that, they would be in the building. We look forward to be back in the building starting next year. We also, as a district, held the parent-teacher conferences on the 17th, and had several of those. Those were all virtual, either through Google Meet or by phone. That was held throughout the day. I thought that went real well. That was an e-learning day. It wasn't a remote day. We had senior picture that was taken yesterday. They had their senior picture taken on the playground equipment down here by the old bus barn. It's always interesting where they want to go. And as they were getting it set up and everybody trying to see everybody's face and that, they said, we should have just gone to the courthouse. And I was like, there you go. It's the perfect place. That's what I always tell them. But they got that. But then we took the seniors over to the park, had pizza. Marie there at the cafeteria got us brownies and cookies. We always appreciate that. Chips. And just kind of a nice, one of the boxes that they get to check as a senior to do that. Our 6th, 7th, 8th grade teachers, they have started their training for New Tech with our school coach, Kelly McKay, who's remote again with us. She's in South Carolina. She's in Charleston. That is held every month. It's been held the past 2 Mondays. We've got 2 more Mondays. Excuse me. And that's for 90 minutes. This is the first module. We'll have 2 more modules, so we'll have one that will be partly done before Christmas, finish that, and then we'll have one, the 3rd segment there in March. We also have our leadership team, our New Tech leadership team. That's comprised of Ashley Dunkerley, Sherry Farmer, Jennifer Eaton, and myself. And we started training Tuesday with Kelly for the leadership training. And we have 3 series of that start Tuesday. It'll be the next 2 Tuesdays that we go through. So we're getting started. on the new tech. It is a big initiative and it is a lot to undertake. So there's going to be a lot of growing pains and how we get that rolling. We're going to definitely have the support of new tech. Also, BHS and GROTC had their welcome aboard ceremony last night. They had 5 new cadets that were freshmen, new to the, not all freshmen, but they were new to the unit. So we introduced those. The parents that were in attendance last night got to put a name with a face with Commander Lemons, who took over the unit on September 3rd. And excited about that. He did a really good job speaking with them. I think was a very good hire, and looking forward to that. So then they had 25 cadets total and had several awards that they recognized from last year that they, of course, didn't get to be able to do. And then athletically, we got a lot of teams. Most of all of our fall teams are getting ready for either conference meets, sectionals coming up. So I want to wish all of them best of luck. Boys, girls cross country, both high school and junior high. Girls volleyball will be rolling around here fall break time. Boys tennis sectional is next Wednesday. Boys and girls soccer is the following week. So believe it or not, I mean, we've got, this will be 7 weeks in the book. And it's amazing. Really glad that we've been as successful as we've been, and it's not been, you know, I mean, we've had our rocks in the road there. We've persevered and moved forward. So looking forward to a second semester and first edition, second night. Thank you.
All right, next agenda item is public comments regarding agenda items, and we have 2 people signed up. One is for the building plan, so would you like to speak at public hearing for the building plan later on?
That's fine.
Okay.
Whichever's best.
Okay, and then Iris, would you like to speak now?
I signed in on accident. I thought I had
Oh,
to sign,
okay.
so I.
You're obligated now. Get up, you yes, come on, get your 2 minutes.
All right.
I'm not moving down here.
Not until you get a front.
Yeah, I was, a public statement.
All right, the next agenda item is consent agenda. So,
Yeah, we're just going through the consent agenda that you guys all were sent. Lost my place, I'm sorry. So we've got the meeting minutes from August 27th, our regular session, and our meeting minutes from the executive session, and our meeting minutes from the special session, September 1, and the treasurer's report as well. And then we have personnel in there, and we've got a list of some non-certified, club, resignation, all those listed as well. We have a field trip consent as well, for ROTC going to Fort Clinton, Ohio. And then donations, a list of donations through there that was sent to all the boards. Are there any questions on any of those? Do you want me to expand on any of those in any way, shape, or form?
okay. All right, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
One motion we approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Go ahead, Gary.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? All right, thank you. All right, our next item on the agenda is for the board to hold a lease and additional appropriation hearing. If you're interested in speaking at the hearing, please make sure you provide your name and address. And after a presentation by the school administration and its advisors, there will be an opportunity for the public to make comments about lease and the additional appropriations of bond proceeds. At the hearing, we will ask each person to limit their comments to 3 minutes, and a comment copy be limited to the proposed projects under consideration. The notice of the lease hearing was published as legally required on August the 21st, 2020 in the Daily World. The notice of the additional appropriation hearing was published as legally required on September the 4th, 2020 in the Daily World. Jane Herndon from Ice Miller, our bond counsel, will now provide a summary of the law and the purposes behind these hearings.
Mr. President, the purpose of the hearing is to discuss the lease and the additional appropriation. As you all remember, the school board held project hearings back in the spring. They advertised and waited a 30-day period in which voters or taxpayers could petition to ask for additional process. So that process went through. They are now in the process of doing the design and the approval of the lease. And that's the purpose of tonight's hearing, is to hold the hearing on the lease itself. The terms of that lease are provided in your package, and they are consistent with what was heard in the spring. And the goal is to keep that tax rate at or below what the tax rate was last year. So that's the purpose of it.
Thank you. We will now hear from the superintendent about the need for this project.
There are three main things were pointed out for the need of this project: a safe and secure building, to have safe entrances into the building. Also, there's many items that are end of life that need to be updated. And restrooms, for example, that need to be ADA compliant. And then also just additional space and opportunities for extracurricular activities. We have many teams, ECA clubs that sometimes have to practice late into the night just because of sharing of facilities, or come early in the morning, evening past 9 o'clock. So the need for extra space for practices and things like that. So that is what led to this building project, and we gave a very architect last board meeting gave a very thorough summary of the schematic design and every part that's going to be touched upon. And I believe those plans, anybody interested in those plans, we actually spent all day today in each of the areas that are being worked on, starting to get the nitty-gritty details of what's going in those rooms and just the design of those. So that process is underway, and we're getting input from every area that's being affected and making sure we plan appropriately. So this is the time to plan. This is a change. Literally, the architect was making changes as staff was giving input. It was kind of neat, this little thing he had programmed as he was doing that. So we're in that process, and hope to continue to move forward.
All right, thank you. We will now open the public hearing with respect to the lease and appropriation of bond proceeds for the project. Remember, if you would like to speak, please sign in on the sheet. And as I mentioned earlier, we ask that you state your name and address, limit your comments to proposed projects, lease, and additional appropriation. Keep any comments to 3 minutes and avoid being repetitive if possible. May I have the sign-in sheet, which I've got here, and I will now begin calling the names for those who are interested. Mr. Helms.
I wrote down what I'm gonna say because I can talk for a really long time on this. So this is something that I've been talking about for a long time, and nothing really seems to be happening. So as we said, now is the time. So here I am. So I'm here to propose 2 updates to the presented schematic design of the upcoming renovations. The first is a renovation of the music classroom space. This spring, both the band and the choir were moved into rooms that are considerably smaller than they have previously been in. This move was made in an effort to bring the music department together. Previously, one was in the junior high wing and one was down by the gym. And we share a lot of resources, and with elementary students, it's a great idea to have us together, and it's been wonderful being next to one another. However, now neither of us have any room for any possible growth. We are literally packed in, anywhere we can be. And right now, my space is not big enough to even do the job that I'm doing now. In fact, I'm holding all of my choir rehearsals in the old band room because my current room is not big enough to hold my choirs, especially not with any sort of social distancing. So there's a pretty immediate need to do some renovations to that space. And so the second thing that I would like to propose, in addition to the classroom space, is to propose a phase 2 to this plan and to add an auditorium onto our school. And now I know that to many this seems like a luxury item and that we've got bigger fish to fry and, you know, yeah. But when we consider how our spaces are used, you know, we were just talking about how we have so many wonderful ECAs here. When we consider how our spaces are used, it is a need in order to future-proof our performing arts department and also offer a huge benefit to really every stakeholder group to our school, whether it's community members, whether it's parents for meetings, whether it's other clubs and organizations as they have ceremonies or meetings, for staff meetings, for school board meetings, for really anyone. In fact, anyone I've ever talked to about an auditorium says the only problem, if there is any, is that it gets used so much, so many people want to use it, that they're trying to schedule around it because it is such a useful and vital part of their school. Now, I know that this is not going to be built next summer. Okay, I'm not proposing that. The funding and the design process alone dictate that there is a delay. However, let's make a plan now to ensure that we don't have to backtrack later. So if we decide to do this later and then we have to tear down and undo and thus waste money on what we're getting ready to do right now. I believe that right now the ideal location for this addition would be on the footprint of the current bus lot. It would give central access to all grade levels, be easily connected to the back of the music department space, and with our new parking lots being built, offer a prime self-contained entrance for community use and school safety. You know, we always talk about how much pride we have in our school and how we offer all the opportunities that a bigger school. We have wonderful opportunities with all of our early college programs and everything we have going on for our school. So all of these great opportunities, and that means sufficient space and support for our longstanding fine arts department and an auditorium that would offer a place to ensure that our school continues to be the heart of our community. I truly believe that it would be a benefit to us all. So thank you for listening and for your sincere consideration.
Thank you.
Can I comment? Am I allowed to do that? Okay, so it's no secret Laura and I are friends, and we've talked a lot about this. And she didn't mention half of the things I wouldn't have even thought about as far as an auditorium. I mean, the fact that it could be, right now we're using Shawnee Theater for a lot of our music programs in our theater, and unfortunately, the reality is that Shawnee may not always be there, and then where are we going? Are we going to have a plan B? Are we going to be stuck? What's going to happen? Not only that, but it's an opportunity. My school had an auditorium. Every school in my district had an auditorium. I didn't even know a school without an auditorium existed until I came to Green County, I guess. So, and we did use it all the time. And then in addition, it's something that can be used by lots and lots and lots of, there's lots of opportunities, whether we have speakers coming in, whether they're using it for the extracurricular activities. And it's something to enable us to charge admissions that could potentially be used as a money, I don't want to say a money maker, but it could potentially be used to bring funds into the school. There's just so many things I think it would be beneficial, and it makes sense. The location, I agree, makes sense for Laura and for the music department to be right next to the band room in that area that's not necessarily designated for anything in particular already, even if it's, and like she said, if we just had the plan to know that that was going to be designated for potential auditorium in the future, there would be the opportunity, not to say that we are going to do it, but at least we're not putting something else there right now and then have nowhere to put an auditorium in the future if we did decide to.
are you on a committee and how are those conversations going, if that's been brought up?
I asked to be on a committee, and was never put on one.
Okay, so you've not had the opportunity to have those conversations in a committee.
How are the committees? Who's on them?
I don't know if they were established before. I'm not trying to.
On the elementary.
They've already been established.
I have 2 teachers on the lower wing, 2 teachers on the upper wing, counselor, nurse.
So does everybody have a say and have the opportunity to have a say in that?
Well, in our area, the teachers go around their areas. They take notes and make sure of those, and have meetings, talking about it.
So is there an opportunity for, like, say, Laura, who's not on a committee, to discuss these things with, for anyone that's not on a committee, to discuss this with the architects of the building, project managers, or anything along those lines, or is that?
Typically, they take somebody that is on the committee, and they bring it. At least it's possible, not on it.
Well, Laura talked to me this week, basically, I got the full detailed version. What I haven't told Laura is I've already talked to Matt Bales about the immediate fix, and I can't say this with 100% certainty, but we're looking into doing that in-house, basically the storage area, possibly taking down that wall to give her immediate space right there, but that is just a conversation right now. Mr. Bales, I haven't talked to Mr. Dean about that, but that area could be, because she's just short on space, the number she has. Her idea was if you take that storage area in front of her room, tear down that wall, that would give her immediate more space. So I've already talked to Bales about that would potentially look like. So just yes or no, based on our conversation.
It's like she was going to. You said you had any questions?
Oh, yeah, Bales is getting that
Got 2
done.
days on it.
We're done this weekend, it'll be done on Monday.
Okay,
I see where you're going.
there you go, Laura.
Sounds good.
No, now are you done talking?
All right. Jeez, I didn't think I was ready with
Things suddenly got ugly there, didn't they?
And so regarding the possibility for potential auditorium, I mean, I'm sure that finances have a role in that, you know. This is the first time hearing of an auditorium of not being, this is the first time hearing of any of this, so I'm just, with the space that she is talking about, can we get an idea of what that would cost, just to see, or can an auditorium be, I don't know how the auditorium works, like where the what's it called, extracurricular area is, the gymnasium, the other rec area. Can that be incorporated to be an auditorium as well? I don't know how all that works. I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
right now, if you look at the schematic design, that's where we're moving the playground in between. So you have to do a phase 2. I don't know how much I should say publicly here, but I think publicly it's already been talked about the new, the land where the tennis courts are and the land we purchased. That's an area where things could be considered as well. Such as, it's already, I know publicly, we already talked about potential baseball and softball out there. We've already had conversations about the cross-country course moving out there because this building project's gonna, so those are all, as I told Laura, those are future things that we can put on the docket as we make a construction plan for the future. I think you're always thinking ahead.
Well, I think that's what she's asking us to think ahead. So, what would that look like?
I agree. I think it makes sense that not. A playground, that's simple to move, but not put a building there. I guess that's designated for something else that is going to totally eliminate the possibility of an
things to consider, sorry if I'm on a lot, is, like, we do need an entrance in to get to the back of the cafeteria. You know, so as you plan that road, you know, to get to the loading docks of the cafeteria, consider that there could be, you know, that there could be a big building here. You know, and thinking about, like, as you secure those entrances, you know, how you rework those entrances to, you know, then be possibly built onto. Like, you know, obviously I'm not an architect, there are people who know much more about that than I do. You know, but I think there are things to consider that could make it an easier transition and a less costly transition later on, if we plan for that now.
Because we've already set our budget.
Right,
She's not gonna go back that way.
And she's not talking about putting it in this building project, that's what she's saying.
Plan
phase two.
accordingly so that it's feasible.
Right,
Yeah.
so that
I'm
it
just
doesn't
curious
eliminate
about
the
5
possibility
years
of
from
it.
now, when payments are down, we
Yes.
could.
Yes,
Yes.
that could be a
That's
phase two.
why I was asking that, can we get an idea of what that was?
Yeah.
All right, would anybody else like to speak? Okay, Ms. Herndon, could you please summarize the resolution authorizing execution of lease?
I think you'd probably close the hearing, and
Oh,
then we
yeah.
consider the resolution,
yeah,
if that's all
sorry.
right?
Yeah, this time we'll close the public hearing, yes, thank you.
So the first resolution in your package is to approve then the execution of the lease. Again, that's consistent with the financing terms the board has been approving all the way along. It also authorizes your president and secretary to execute that lease. And there's also the approval process of an appraisal. So there will be a portion of this facility that is the subject of the lease that will get sold to the building corporation, and then you will lease that back to them. Those lease payments are what are used to pay the bond. So that would be Exhibit A, and we would be looking for a motion to approve that.
Okay. Could I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution authorizing execution of the lease?
Make a motion.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Yeah. All opposed, same sign. All right, thank you.
The next resolution is Exhibit B, the additional appropriation resolution. This is to appropriate the bond proceeds for the project that the board has approved.
Okay. Could I have a motion and a second to adopt the additional appropriation resolution? Terry Nichols, yes. Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you.
Next resolution is Exhibit C. It's approving or reapproving the building corporation. This is a not-for-profit corporation that the school corporation has used previously. They will be the lessor and the issuer of the bonds, and the school corporation will lease the facility from them and make lease payments. Those lease payments then are used to pay the bond issue. The school corporation needs to give the building corporation the authority to issue tax-exempt bonds, and that's what this resolution does.
Okay. Could I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution approving formation of the building corporation? Chris, any second? Hayden?
Your word, my hand.
All in favor? Second.
Only a couple more.
Yep.
If the board would like, I can summarize all three of the last ones together, and you can just vote them on together if you would like to.
That'd be great.
Exhibit D, as I mentioned, the building corporation is going to own a portion of the building and hold bond proceeds. Therefore, they also need to be the contracting party. So after you and your architect and construction manager decide on the contractors, then you'll assign those contracts to the building corporation. They'll use the bond proceeds then to pay those contracts. That's basically what Exhibit D does. Exhibit E is approving what's called a Master Continuing Disclosure Undertaking Agreement. Leave it to the Securities and Exchange Commission to be complicated. But in order for you to issue bonds, or the building corporation to issue bonds, you have to enter into this Continuing Disclosure Undertaking Agreement. So that's what this resolution does. And then the last one is similar, that because these are securities, you have to comply with Securities and Exchange Commission rules going forward, And this has you adopt and approve what are called post-issuance procedures. The superintendent is appointed as your compliance officer, and that we'll work with him along with your financial advisor to make sure that the laws are followed with regard to these bonds. And that's the last of it.
Okay. Then could I have a motion and a second to adopt all three resolutions? The aging, assigning construction bids, the authorizing master continuing disclosure undertaking and issuance of bonds, and amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedures.
Motion approved.
Terry Wade and Katie, all in favor? All right, thank you. All right, our next agenda item is adoption of proposed 2021 budget, capital projects plan, the school bus replacement plan, and related resolutions. Is there any?
No, it's just, I think we have to go through, we have sent out each of those budgets. We had the public hearing for those last board meeting, and we've had the public notices of that, and so it's just a matter of going through each of those funds and approving them.
Okay, could I have a motion to approve all 5 of those resolutions? The appropriations tax rate for 2021 budget, the capital projects fund plan for 2021, the bus replacement plan for 2021, and the resolution of 2021 budget transfer, and the resolution to transfer amounts from the education fund to the operations fund.
I'll make a motion.
Carrie Neighbors, can I have a second?
Second.
Lana, all in favor? All right, thank you. And the next one is the Greene County General Hospital Athletic Training Service Agreement. Is there any further discussion on that? Any additional information?
If you, JB, he's gonna share a little bit, maybe just give us a summary. He's gonna, and that can just maybe tie into your AD report there. Just give us a summary of the athletic training service we have with Greene County.
Okay, pending board approval, we're looking to do what we did last year with them, with Team Ortho, Greene County General Hospital. They came on board a little late here this year. With the COVID, they were struggling to hire someone, so that took them some time, because normally last year they did soccer, they did volleyball, and then boys and girls basketball home events. They've obviously missed the soccer and volleyball. They might get on the tail end of that. Soccer, maybe we've got 2 more home matches. But in the future, hopefully that schedule will be the same. They apply 4 additional hours per week for whatever practices, injuries. And that's not just boys and girls basketball starting now. That'll go through the end of the school year for spring sports as well. They won't cover those home events, but they will be available at practices or injuries and share their time with all the sports. So it worked well last year. They do a nice job with it. It gives our kids an option there as far as with orthopedic stuff, and we've got that contact with the hospital to get them in case there is an injury.
Could I have a motion to approve the Greene County General Hospital Athletic Training Service Agreement?
I'll make it really approved.
Okay, Rich? Second. Terry Wade, second. All in favor? Yeah, thank you. And the next agenda item is reports. And the first one is athletic report.
Back up? Yeah. Back up. Just a facility equipment type update. Some big ticket items here. Baseball scoreboard, Crane Credit Union and Bloomfield Dairy Queen. We're going to sponsor a new scoreboard for the baseball field. So many thanks to them. That's in the process of being made right now. There'll be signage on the bottom of it with their logos. So that's a big cost item that they're really helping out with. Another big ticket item in batting cage for baseball. As you can see, we tore the old one down there. It was just a 1-tunnel system. We're ordering a new one that has 2 tunnels so more kids can utilize it at once. I have no idea how old that one was down there, but it's been there as long as I can remember. So that's an update. Then last winter, just to throw this in here, because it is a big ticket item. We bought new pitching machines for both baseball and softball. They were non-existent here. Those were much needed. They've not got to use them yet. That's a whole lot because COVID set in during their limited contact workouts in the winter. but that's something in the future I think will help both programs. Something on the docket that I'm trying to do, orchestrate is a scoreboard for the soccer field. Those feelers out there for sponsorship. You know, if anybody here wants to sponsor that, I'll take that on. I've got a quote.
Yeah, what's the price on that?
The first quote I got, and this is just the board itself, was $4,000. That's just the board. That's not counting I-beams in the ground, getting electricity to it, installing it. You know, it's a big process.
Get in contact with me, maybe.
Okay.
You'll be willing to help them.
In a soccer scoreboard, you just need time to score basically, so it is a little more, you know, condensed compared to like baseball or basketball. So it's not quite as expensive, but just putting it in installation and just equipment to do it. But I got some fielders on that, so I'd like to make that happen for those teams, you know, in the future as soon as I could. Athletic trainer, I had that on here. I just discussed that. Our fall sports teams, just to give you a rundown on them, soccer, boys, they're 3-4-1 right now. Most wins in school history at this point. They still have 3 remaining matches. They've been, you know, very competitive all year, even more so than last year. And that was my first year here, but I think that's the program that's headed in the right direction. The girls, they've won 1 match this year, 3 remaining, so hopefully they can get 1 or 2 more before they finish up. The thing with the girls is the numbers have increased some. I know they've struggled, so that's a positive on that program. Hopefully it will continue to grow. Boys tennis, currently they're 10-5. A team accomplishment, they won the B&L invite. They had their SWAC this weekend. I hate to jinx Coach Candy, but they're probably the favorite in the SWAC and the section. So hopefully, you know, they can stay healthy, they can finish up very strong. Cross country, start with the girls. They won our Bloomfield invite here. They were 3rd at the GCI. That they've had a tough year with injuries. They've been playing all year, but just talking to the coach, he said that had changed their attitude. They're still working hard. Adeline Wiseman, she, as an individual, won the Greene County invite, so, and I think that was her last race. She suffered an injury, so hoping to get her back to the sectional, but she's currently been out. Boys have had a stellar year. They've actually beat 64 teams and only been beaten by 2. Invites they've won the Washington invite, the Laker invite, the Greene County invite, the Bloomfield invite, the Cardinal invite. They were 2nd at a big Columbus meet earlier this year, and this weekend they've got the Shackamack invite, and next weekend the conference, and sectional. Kind of like tennis, they're probably favored in those events they got coming up, so hopefully they can stay healthy and finish strong. About halfway through it. Volleyball, last one here, they're currently 11-4, 6-0 in the conference. They'll play Winton on October 5th for the conference championship. You know, like those other 2, they're probably sectional favorites. They lost 1 kid from the semi-state team last year, so hopefully they can finish strong. Just a few thank yous just on the coaches. I think they've done a great job. This has been a very tough year with the sports and COVID and all the adjustments. They've done a great job, I think, of, you know, reporting, contacting Renee, keeping our kids safe. You know, for the most part, we've not missed a whole lot on it because of us. They've done a nice job of educating the kids when they're not displaying sports, because that's probably the toughest thing is when they go away from their team, what are they doing then? And I think they've done a great job. And the other group is the maintenance guys, the custodial staff, Matt Bells. I mean, they've been fabulous. I know they've been stretched even thinner, but setting up games, to cleaning stuff, to fixing things for me. I mean, you know, those guys are an athletic director's best friend, and I can't say enough of what they've done. You know, they started this school year, and I don't know if it's going to get better for them, but, you know, they've got the South Complex, they've got this here. You know, they've always got something going. Anytime I get a hold of one of them and need something fixed, it's done. So, you know, my hat's off to them, and I really appreciate what they're doing. Last thing here, sports passes. Just communicating with the county ADs, and in fact, communicating today, WRB has sent another letter to the health department to get some further guidance since they've loosened up a little bit, or going to Saturday to see if we can start having more people and hopefully move towards some type of sports pass. We're talking maybe in the winter. Hopefully we can give families in some type of break, with not having to hit count as much as we do. So that's in the works. I just figured up, you're talking, compared to fall sports, 6 paying fall sports compared to 13 teams that pay for the winter, breaking down individuals. So we're hoping something like that will work out. Dr. Lehman spoke to me, what do we possibly do now? We did put a $20 cap for our families, if you exceed $20, just to try to give them a break. But it's been tough, and it's just not here. I mean, all the county schools, we're staying in line, trying to do the same thing. It's not that they got a sports pass across the river and we don't here. So we communicate daily, weekly, and everybody's on the same page. So that's been nice. Everybody's been working together. Other than that, that's the worldwide sports.
Thank you. Thank you. Next agenda item is the
White world sports.
is the cafeteria director's report.
Hello. We are on free meals now, of course, everybody's talking to hear about that, through December 31st or until the funds run out for the USDA. Free meals for all students have been provided with the waivers. Bloomfield is using the SSO option. They had a couple different options, and I really weighed them out, we talked about them, and decided this one actually keeps their plate fuller. So we went with that one, and then it is a lot less paperwork on our end too. So we decided to do that. Every meal that goes out, we're reimbursed for the free rate, which is $3.58. Typically on our regular program, every paid student, if they are a full pay student, we only pay 33 cents per plate. So this is a huge increase for us. And then the commodities for the following year, they give you grocery money, and it's based on how many meals you've had go through your school year. However many meals this year times 24 cents, that's our grocery money for next year. And it's just there to supplement, and then we pay for the rest of that. So, the waiver allows us to claim the free meals back to the first day of school. And I don't know if anybody has noticed, we just got it done a day or two ago. All the kids' accounts, all the money that they spend on meals has been put back on their account. So, and they're spending it with us now that they are getting free meals. They're buying more of the a la carte items too. That's we got plans for
They don't know.
Virtual learning students, we emailed all the students that are at home. We have offered them to pick up meals daily. They can come and pick up our regular hot lunch. We're taking it curbside to them. And they get today's hot meal and then a breakfast for the next morning. So we have a lot of people participating in that. We have 3 families that we have one that's regular, and then the other 2 that have occasionally. As far as the numbers for our cafeteria, last year we were serving between 4 and 450 a day for lunches, and this year, on September 9th, which was a couple weeks ago, we served 261, and then today yesterday we served 353. So that gave us 35% increase that we've seen almost overnight when we started offering the free meals. And then the breakfast, September 9th, we had 167. And then September 23rd, yesterday, we had 234, which was a 40% increase. So we are just really grateful, glad to see the kids, and thankful for the administration. We've gotten a new fingerprint system that's not went as smooth as we had hoped, with the younger kids especially. Everybody's been really patient with us and appreciate it. The kids have been great. They don't ever come in without their masks or anything like that. So we're thankful for that. And then we did get donations. Actually, the same day that we got a donation for West Bloomfield, I found out about the free waiver that we would be able to use. West Bloomfield gave us a check for $1,700, and that was to pay for all of the reduced breakfast and lunches for those kids for September, October, November. And since we won't be doing that, we're going to hold that check and see if this free program doesn't run through the rest of the year, then we will go ahead and keep that check in the second half of the year. So, and then we did get a scholarship fund donations from the Frum family and from the Presbyterian Church, each for $300. The scholarship fund, we use that to help with free and reduced gift cleaning up charges and that kind of thing. So, or if we even know that a family's having trouble, we try to help them out.
Thank you. And now the superintendent's report.
Yeah, so we have a leadership team meeting, we're gonna have it monthly the week before this board meeting. And, just kind of, last month we had, Renee and Mr. Bales and Derek, present. And just as we had our last leadership meeting, and JB and Maria was there, it's like, I think we need to get them up here periodically at least, just to give an update. So thanks, Mr. Neal and Marie for sharing that and giving us an update. And then I think it's better hearing it straight from them than me giving a report, at least periodically. I told them they don't have to come every month. JB was very thankful.
But you're welcome to come anytime. I like hearing from you.
But so we want to periodically get our leaders up here talking to you. But I told Renee she didn't need me here. I'll give the health report here. So just going through some of these, and I've written these in the executive content. But I'm just going to read some of these bullet points that we had from our leadership meeting. The process with COVID symptoms have improved. Things are going much smoother. Attendance tracking was a struggle for a while, but the administrators done a great job with our office ladies, streamlining the process at both offices. It's been great teamwork with the new labels of attendance and things like that. It was pretty tough there for a while, but it's starting to streamline and be a little bit better. There's packets of updated information for students. I personally had to take my daughter to be tested, and it was great to have that packet of information of what we needed to do. Actually, that's not true. I did not have to get her tested. I had to go to the doctor's appointment to see if she needed to be tested. Sorry, I misquoted her. Because you're probably wondering why was I not quarantined. We updated, we have a COVID section on the website, and that was kind of Renee and I brainstorming together. She was getting, one time during the hottest moment of this thing, she got over 100 phone calls that day, and having to explain things. She's like, we've got to do something that parents can read and have access. So promoted the kind of the COVID section and FAQ on that on our website, and Renee has referred people to that, and she thinks that's helped. And I also think just going through it a little bit and people talking has helped a lot too. And it seems like the cases have slowed down. So, all right, and hopefully that continues to go that direction. So as we open things up a little bit, I think we're 5.0 now. Governor Holden's thing, and hopefully we continue going in that direction. We still get negative test results are coming in every day. And she gave us some data here, 290 students and 26 staff members have been affected in some way since the start of the school. And overall, we're still at 2 staff members that were positive and 2 students that were positive. So that we haven't had any recently. We again hope that continues. But we did want you to know it has affected us with the quarantines and the symptoms and things like that. But again, only 2 staff and 2 students at this point. We had the student immunization clinic. That had been yesterday. Is that yesterday in here? And I lose track of days here. But and that went really well. We had a good number of people come in for immunizations. And the staff flu shot clinic is September 29th. So she's encouraging everybody to get the flu shot. Technology-wise, all teachers now have working laptops. Our one-to-one program in technology overall is functioning effectively. That's not to say, he still doesn't have tickets to deal with, but technology, that's a constant thing. But laptops are working. We've feel like we're moving forward effectively with technology. Food services there, Marie, great job sharing the update on that, thank you. Operations, we were having some problems with the physical address of that south complex. It wasn't coming up on people's GPS, teams were getting lost. And so Jessica did some legwork there and got an official address at that location. So I'm just gonna say that out loud, 4425 South US Highway 231, Bloomfield. And that is an official address, and it just was a little unclear what that official address was, and that's what it is. And hopefully that will be on your GPS for people who need that. If you've seen some machines out there, Mr. Bales has people, there's some erosion with that land out there on the south complex, and so they marked the utilities and they're working on the erosion that's out there. And because of that erosion, we have areas where grass is not growing, and that's being overseeded and fertilized as well. And I think Mr. Dean already talked about the beta induction and some of the other, he can talk about the athletics that I had listed in there. And so I think that's the update. Any questions?
Thank you.
You were gonna provide the AD.
ADM count, all right, we do have the principals double, thank you, kind of double checking it before we make it official. I think Jessica gave them the list, but it looks like it's 799. So that is, we were 810 last fall, so that would be a decrease of 11 from last fall. Last spring we were 805, so a decrease of 6 from spring.
Did this include those that were just recently enrolled? There's 4 of them today.
Yeah.
No, I already talked to Mike about that, I'm just joking. I said, I wish I would have been last week. He couldn't help it. It's not his fault.
So there are 5 that are not reflected in that at least. Correct.
Just to let them know. Friday or before.
I have a couple more that say
Yeah,
they're
no,
not,
but they have attendance is,
working on it. Working on it.
That includes virtual meetings.
Our next agenda item is board member comments and items for future agendas. Anything?
I gotta get a little lazy chocolate chili here today.
I hear it's excellent.
All right, our future meetings are on October the 29th and November the 17th. And this time we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.
That's Mike.
Don't leave, board. You guys